The universe didn't want me to beat Sly 3, and it highlighted a problem that I'd imagine most retro gamers encounter at some point in their retro journey. So I've been on this journey for the past 6 months, and luckily haven't really had too many issues, because with old technology and old games, you will always run into problems where maybe the checkpoints are annoying, or maybe the game doesn't run well if you're playing the PAL version, or things like that. But also, and more frustratingly, and also more expensively, hardware. Hardware can be annoying, and old hardware is bound to break at some point. And I just beat Sly 2, so there's a video there if you want to go watch it, because Sly 2 and 3 are coming to the PS5. And I went straight from Sly 2 onto Sly 3, and I was playing it on the PS3, and my PS3 has some issues. But before we go any further, if you're enjoying the content, please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Cover all sorts of retro games, remakes, stuff like this when, you know, games come to the PS5 and all that. Join the channel members down below if you really want to. Now, let's talk about Sly 3. And I'll be totally honest, I was quite apprehensive going into Sly 3 because every single person knows that the third entry in platformer series usually goes way off the rails and gets too gimmicky, too annoying. It's like they were trying to figure out ideas on how to innovate on the foundations that they laid out in the first two games, and most of the time, they went too far. So that was in the back of my mind when I was playing Sly 3. So I loaded it up and I played the first level of Sly 3, which is this Italian city, and the main boss is an opera singer, and there's canals everywhere. You're going on boats, you're running around on rooftops as you do in Sly. And I love how this level is laid out. And as I was going around, I was like, I haven't heard the little jingle of a bottle anywhere. Oh, maybe they're really well hidden. But guess what? They're not. They just took the bottles out of the levels. So as you're walking around these massive levels, they are way bigger than Sly 2. There's nothing to do. They're just there for you to go from mission 1 to mission 2. And yes, a couple of missions take place in the actual overworld where you might be tailing the boss or whatever. But a lot of the missions, you just go into a location. So you're just running around these, might I add, brilliantly laid out, really creative, really fun levels, but there's absolutely nothing to do with them. They're just completely empty. And I said in my Sly 2 video that my favorite part of it was running around on the rooftops and finding glass bottles and finding the hidden treasures and selling them and stuff like that. But here, there is absolutely nothing to do in the levels. It makes them absolutely useless. But then when you get into the Bentley, Murray and Sly missions, are actually better than Sly 2, because they added in a couple of things to change it up a bit. There's a couple of missions where you actually play as all three in one. There's a bar fight scene where you swap from each character at different sections to fight enemies. And that's actually just a really fun mission. And then when you get into the boss fight of that section, or the mini boss, you play as Sly and you have to use Bentley and Murray to stun the boss. So they're all incorporated, all brought into the missions. They also have missions where you will start as Sly, and then halfway through the mission, you will swap to Bentley, and then you'll swap back to Sly. They do a really good job with all that stuff. But then you get into all the gimmicky stuff, and you're spending more time in these gimmicky levels than you are actually playing the normal Sly, Murray, and Bentley missions. You are Murray rolling up into a ball and bouncing around the place. You're Sly in an airplane, which I don't think is too bad, but still just more gimmick upon gimmick upon gimmick. Then you're playing as a koala sage, jumping on people's backs. You're controlling the RC helicopter. At one point you're in a big truck squishing scorpions. Another point you're using an arm to pick up some barrels and throw them at things, and I'm like, oh my god, I only got to level 4 before I got all these technical issues, and already the game was too gimmicky. And this is where the universe, and maybe subconsciously my brain, decided that, Adam, you aren't gonna finish this game, because every single play session was just kind of a slog. I don't hate the game, I just wasn't compelled to play too much of it every single time I sat down, which is something that happens with some of these old retro games. A lot of them I'm really excited, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to play the next session. And then other ones are like, you know, I'll beat it for a video, but I'm only beating it because of the video. So in the back of my mind, my brain didn't want me to finish this game. But then my PS3, this PS3 Slim that I bought in like a car boot sale for like, I think it was 40 or 50 euro with 2 games and a load of controllers. It was a really good deal. I think I've had it for maybe 5-6 years. It's hard to remember exactly when I bought it, but it's served me well so far. And when I did my Marvel Ultimate Alliance video back earlier on this year, I ran into some issues with the HDMI port. I can feel the HDMI port is loose, and I presume all I need to do is just give it to somebody to repair the HDMI port and it will work. But I ran into so many technical issues, not with the game, with the PlayStation itself. So first of all, I was playing this on my 4K TV, which is fine, and it runs at 1080p on the dashboard, 720p for the Sly Cooper trilogy. And that's how I played Sly 1 and Sly 2, didn't have any problems. But then when Sly 3 came along, I think the PlayStation was trying to do me a favour. It's like, Adam, you're not enjoying this. Let me fix this for you. So basically what was happening was I would plug the HDMI in, regardless of if I had it plugged into a capture card or directly into the TV or into my 2 monitors. It wouldn't detect 1080p. It would only detect 1080i on my TV and not 1080p, and it would default to 576p. And 576p on a 4K TV looks absolutely dreadful. It also means that if I was recording the footage, it would look awful. It would look ridiculously stretched, and just the resolution would be crap, and it just wouldn't make for a good viewing experience. So, no joke, I spent about an hour or 2 trying to sort this out. And eventually I got it working in 1080p. But then the image would just randomly cut in and out. The screen would go black for 5 seconds, it would come back for 10 minutes, go black for 10 seconds, come back for 2 minutes, go black again. It just wasn't working. I tested it in 1080p, 1080i and 720p, and every single time the image would cut in and out. And interestingly, and I wonder if there's somebody who's a bit more technical than me in the comments could maybe explain this, when I played it at 576p, there was no image cutting in and out. I don't know why. I can't explain it. I don't know if anybody could. So then I started playing it on my CRT. So I took these very expensive SCART cable that I bought for the PS2, which also works on the PS3, and I was playing on my CRT. And the game looked fantastic. It was brilliant. I was sitting in my armchair. It was really cozy. Great. Had a great time. Well, I didn't have a great time because I was playing Sly 3, but I had a better time. And then my controller ran out of battery. And for the past while, I've been swapping in and out of the 2 controllers that I got when I bought this PS3. And now, none of them will charge. I don't know why. They won't charge off the USB ports, both of the USB ports in the PS3, with 3 different wires. They won't charge off my PC with 3 different wires. They won't charge off a USB block with 3 different wires. So, I don't know what's wrong with them. I don't know if the connector is broken, if maybe all 3 of my wires are broken, but they were working only a couple of months ago, or not even a couple of months ago, a couple of weeks ago when I played Resistance. Or, realistically, the problem is probably within the controllers, which means I have to get another PS3 controller. And the whole thing here is that the Sly trilogy is actually cross-buy, so I have it on Vita and PS3, so I could have played it there. I also have them on PS2. But the thought of me downloading Sly 3 on the Vita and beating it, or should I say having to play the first 4 levels again and then beating it, no, it's not happening, unfortunately. I don't think Sly 3 is a awful game. It's just not very fun. Maybe Sly 4 is better and I will get to it at some point. But yes, every single thing was working against me beating this game, and maybe I'm glad for it, I don't know. Sly 3 is a totally fine game. Sly 2, however, and Sly 1 are fantastic, and I have 2 videos somewhere around here that you will probably be interested in. Thank you very much for watching. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so if you could, please subscribe. If you're enjoying the content, join the channel members down below if you really want to. I appreciate you. Goodbye.